Okay, I think I'm on. Welcome, body odor sufferers. Today I'm going to share an article. I need to start sharing more articles about an interesting article I read about exercising and fasting helps cells shed defective proteins. And this is from the Harvard Gazette. Within the bottom, I guess this is like, the subtitle, I guess. It says, researchers have found that vigorous exercise, fasting, and hormones improve elimination of toxic, misfolded, unnecessary proteins in mouse and human cells. Let me read the beginning, the beginning passage. So, the body's ability to adapt to changing conditions and shifting physiologic demands is essential to its survival. To ensure cellular performance and the health of the entire organism, each cell must be able to dispose of damaged or unnecessary proteins. Okay. Now let's read this passage. And this passage is basically talking about how there's a function in a cell called proteome, and it has the ability to dispose of degenerative proteins. Let's just read it. Our findings show that the body has a built-in mechanism for cranking up the molecular machinery responsible for waste protein removal. That is so critical for the cell's ability to adapt to new conditions, said Alfred Goldberg, senior author on the study and professor of cell biology at the some institute. But what they're essentially talking about is there is this function within the cell called proteome. If you look up the medical definition of proteome, it says it's a protein degradation machine within the cell that can digest a variety of proteins into short polypeptides and amino acids. Now, when you look further down the line, they explain why it's really important and what happens when you have malfunctions in the proteome. So they say that malfunctions in the cell's protein disposal machinery can lead to the accumulation of misfolded proteins, which clog up the cell, interfere with its functions, and over time precipitate the development of diseases, including neuro-degenerative conditions such as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis and Alzheimer's disease. So if you have any type of malfunction with the proteome in your cells, it's bad, and it increases the likelihood of neurodegenerative diseases. Cool. There's a lot of stuff they're saying, but I just want to focus on when they're talking about fasting and exercising. So in this passage, they say here, in their experiments, the researchers analyzed the effects of exercise on cells obtained from thigh muscles of 4 human volunteers before and after vigorous biking. Following exercise, the proteomes of these cells show dramatically more molecular marks of enhanced protein degradation, including greater levels of cAMP. The same changes were observed in the muscles of the anesthetized rats whose hind legs were stimulated to contract repeatedly. Interesting. Fasting, even for brief periods, produced a similar effect on the cell's protein breakdown machinery. Fasting increased proteome activity in the muscle and liver cells of mice deprived of food for 12 hours, the equivalent of an overnight fast, sort of like intermittent fasting. But okay, let's just continue reading. So, in another round of experiments, the researchers exposed liver cells of mice to glucagon, the hormone that stimulates production of glucose as fuel for cells and tissues during periods of food deprivation or whenever blood sugar levels drop. The researchers observed that glucagon exposure stimulated proteome activity and enhanced the cell's capacity to destroy misfolded proteins. So there's a lot of information here. There's more information that's available, but basically what they're saying is like within exercising, when you do exercising or you do some type of fasting, it improves the quality of the proteome to break down degenerative proteins, and in that respect, I guess it makes you healthier, and I guess it prevents any type of neurodegenerative conditions. So, a lot of people don't want to do dieting, and a lot of people don't want to do exercising as well. But especially if we're talking about fasting, because that's what they also found out, that fasting, increases the production of proteomes. If you don't want to do that, I think that is just like a very interesting information to know about, because a lot of people are not really into fasting. A lot of people are not really into exercising. But even if you're not into exercising, even if you want to eat whatever you want to eat, there is some type of benefits to fasting. I actually want to read more articles about fasting, because I've heard that there's a lot of benefits to it. And this is just one of the examples. Like with fasting, it produces proteomes within the cell. which will make it a lot easier to break down, or it makes it, yeah, a lot easier to break down these proteins within the body, and decreases the likelihood of neurodegenerative diseases. I'm always tripping on that word. So if anything, if I don't even make any other type of video, at least you know that it does help in terms of decreasing likelihood of, you know, diseases like that. And not only with fasting, you can also do exercising. I think this is a very interesting article. I just wanted to share it. I didn't want to take too long about it. I appreciate you for watching if anybody actually watched it, and I will salute you all. Goodbye.